Somewhere on a hard drive right now, there's a video game that technically doesn't exist. It was made, real people showed up to work for 3 years and built it. It had a story, it had characters, it had a launch plan, and then a company looked at the whole thing, decided it wasn't worth shipping, and quietly walked it out back behind the shed. That's supposed to be the end. Game's dead, nobody sees it. It goes wherever canceled games go. Except this one just clawed its way back out of the ground, and the footage that surfaced is, I want to be precise with my language here, completely insane. We're talking about Kingdom Hearts' missing link, and by the end of this video, you're going to understand why a bunch of grown adults spent the weekend arguing about jetpack astronauts on 4chan. Stick with me because the actual leak is the least interesting part of all of this. So let's back up. Missing Link was a mobile game announced back in 2022 at the franchise's 20th anniversary event. It was going to be this GPS-based action RPG, the kind where you walk around your actual neighborhood and fight monsters, like if Pokemon Go had a Keyblade and crippling narrative complexity. And it wasn't a side thing, it mattered. Missing Link was supposed to be the bridge into Kingdom Hearts 4. It was set in Salem, I'm bad with pronunciations, which for the normal people watching is basically the origin point of every world in the series. This was lore critical. This was homework you were supposed to do before the main game. It went through multiple closed beta tests, people played it, real footage existed, and then in 2025, Square Enix put out an update on the official Kingdom Hearts website and said, yeah, we're not doing this one. It's canceled, 3 years in the trash, but don't worry, they said we're still hard at work on Kingdom Hearts 4. Cool. So the appetizer's been thrown out, but the entree's still coming. Great. Love that for us. Now here's the part where it gets stupid. Last week, footage started showing up. First it was screenshots, then a partial video, then the next day, the full thing. Nearly 5 minutes of the game's opening cinematic. And I need you to understand what is in the cinematic, because I've watched a lot of Kingdom Hearts trailers, and I was not ready. It opens with lab scientists, fine, normal. Then it cuts to a squad of Keyblade wielders in astronaut suits with jetpacks fighting a giant Heartless. Read that back with me. Space Marines with magic keys fighting a shadow monster the size of a building. And look, if you know Kingdom Hearts, you know this is a series where a Disney character and a JRPG protagonist team up to fight sentient darkness while Donald Duck casts fire spells. The bar for too weird is already in orbit. But even by those standards, people who played the beta went, wait, this doesn't look like the game I tested. Some of them are saying the actual Missing Link was more of a steampunk vibe. Some are saying the astronaut footage doesn't match anything they remember. A few people floated that maybe it's AI generated, which then got shouted down by other people who are very confident it's real. So we're at the point in the internet's evolution where we can't tell if a leaked cutscene from a dead mobile game is authentic or a hoax or a machine hallucinating jetpacks, and nobody in charge is saying a word. Square Enix has been asked for comment. Square Enix has said nothing. Okay, here's the loop I told you to stick around for. This is the part that's actually worth your time, because the real story here isn't the astronauts. The real story is who had this footage and for how long. A lot of fans are now saying that this cinematic wasn't discovered last week. They're saying it was data mined back in 2025, right around when the game got canceled, pulled from the files, and then it just circulated privately. Specifically, people are pointing at Kingdom Hearts content creators, YouTubers, big account beta participants. The claim is that some of them have been sitting on this footage for the better part of a year, sharing it around in private and deliberately not releasing it to the public. And the community has a word for that. The word is hoarding. So now you've got this genuinely fascinating little scandal on your hands. A game gets killed, its final footage becomes functionally lost media, and instead of that footage being preserved and shared, a handful of people with early access turned it into a private collectible, something to have that other people don't. So let me stack this up, because individually, none of these pieces are damning, but together they paint a picture. Piece 1, a corporation makes a product, cancels it, and makes zero effort to preserve or release any of it. Standard, they own it, they killed it, whatever. Piece 2, the only people who saw the inside of that product were beta testers and creators, a closed circle. Piece 3, some of that closed circle allegedly extracted the footage and then instead of sharing history, kept it to themselves as leverage, as clout, as a thing to hint at in a Discord and never post. In piece 4, the cherry on top, when it finally did leak to everyone, the official fan spaces started deleting it. The Kingdom Hearts subreddit put up a notice, no missing link leaks allowed, screenshots, video, music, art, story, none of it, to stay consistent with Square Enix policy. So let me get the full shape of this. The company that threw the game away doesn't want you to see the game they threw away. The creators who had the footage didn't want to share the footage, and the community moderators are now scrubbing it on the company's behalf. Everybody in this chain at every level decided the correct move was for you to see less. All right, let me step off the gas for a second, because there's a real thing underneath all the astronaut jokes. When a game gets canceled, we treat it like it just evaporates, like it was never real. But it was real. Somebody storyboarded that opening cinematic, somebody animated a Keyblade astronaut and thought, this is cool, people are gonna love this. Somebody wrote music for it, there were meetings about it, there was pride in it. And I keep thinking about the version of a person who worked on this thing, not a famous director, just someone, a junior animator, maybe first real gig, who spent months making a 5-minute intro that was supposed to be the first thing millions of players ever saw. That was going to be their thing. The thing they showed their family, the thing they'd point at and say, I made that. And then the game dies and the footage doesn't get a respectful burial. It gets data mined, passed around in private like contraband, argued about, called fake, and then deleted off Reddit for legal reasons. That's the part that gets me, not that the game was weird. Weird is good. Weird is the whole point of the series. It's that the work of real people ended up as a bargaining chip in a clout economy, and the only reason we're even seeing it now is because somebody finally broke ranks. Preservation isn't hoarding. Those are opposites. One means everybody gets to remember, the other means a few people get to own the memory. Okay, bits back on, sentiment over, because I can't let this go without saying the leak might also just tell us something about Kingdom Hearts 4. The theory going around is that those astronaut squads were soldiers from Scala ad Salem, and when they beat the Heartless, the Dark Void clears and reveals Quadratum, which, if you don't know, is the world based on real-life Japan that's supposed to be a huge deal in Kingdom Hearts 4. So the funniest possible outcome here is that a leaked cutscene from a canceled mobile game accidentally spoiled a plot thread from the actual mainline title. Nomura's out here trying to build a mystery box for a 2020's AAA release, and it might have gotten pre-opened by a data mine from a game that got deleted. That's so perfectly Kingdom Hearts, I almost respect it. A series so tangled that the canceled spin-off leaks the sequel. You need a whiteboard and a support group to follow this franchise, and now the lore is escaping through the side door of a game that doesn't exist. Grandpa Nomura, my guy, what were you cooking? Here's where I land on it. I don't think leaking a company's canceled footage is some heroic act. It's legally murky, Square Enix owns it, and I get why they're not thrilled. But I'm also not going to sit here and clutch my pearls about a 5-minute intro to a dead game finally being visible to the people who cared about it. If you make something, show it to the world, get people invested, and then cancel it and lock the footage in a vault, somebody's going to pick that lock eventually. That's just physics. And the creators who allegedly sat on this for a year to feel special, that's the part I actually have contempt for, not the leaker, the hoarders. You had a piece of history and you turned it into a party trick. If you're watching this on your lunch break instead of eating, or you found it buried in your recommended feed at some cursed hour, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. It genuinely helps, and I want to hear from you in the comments, because this one's got a real question attached. What's a piece of gaming media you'd want preserved, even if the company that made it wanted it gone forever? A canceled game, a delisted title, a beta, a lost build, whatever. Something you think deserves to exist even if it never officially shipped. Give me the one that hurts. And I'll see you in the next one. Cyler, out.